Combat of a transport pandemic. Once we merrily flew around in the air, even though the facts caused a real crashes fair. This grew horribly disastrous comedy, although we hardly could bear such tragedy. These plane crashes just still kept on pouring in, especially when our criticism got wings. A request for safer aircrafts came around, but no one could believe this had any ground. How can we look like plane crashing pioneers, that we shall only get disastrous cheers? Just like with other most unreal arguing, our nature stood up to this blameworthy thing. A majestic aircraft came shortly in sight, so some evil defect could get brought to light. Did it not get fired due to a tornado? The wing collapsed as suspected at the bow. Only one bystander lost extra his life, but all the same many thousands might have died. How can we be such plane crashing hypocrites? It can merely make us all our problems spit. When shall worlds of aviation ever learn to respect someone else's life as we earn? What use was our technical complacency that left our criticism in mere vacancy? Did we get forced in some catastrophic way to recommend each other's garbage that day? What shall the world have to think of this affair, and bind concerned parties together with care? How can we act like such a plane crashing star? That goes for common people really too far. What shall cure aircraft defects in time really? With negligence it takes an eternity. Do people really take enough providence to avoid calamities with assurance? What can't eventually happen to the world when people fly careless around in a herd? Were we really created to be such fools? And is it though really worth all these blood pools? How could we get so plane crashing barbaric? That's for normal humans really too frantic. A big bang shall follow sooner or later, when a large aircraft strikes the city center. By what entire crowd shall they seize at a point, and as an atom bomb we shall then scared join. Horrible uproar shall break out only then, and guilty people shall get right in the ban. Can we not really keep an eye on the facts, if authority shall just deny such facts? What can we be for a plane crashing terrorist? Then all things shall get guaranteed in the mist.
Ha cominciare una rivoluzione di trascorso, onde i ponti e un famiglia fondo. Plankjeskade, gewoon een kader voor zielsgeving. Nu wordt het gebied gekenmerkt door hoge boomtorens en futuristische kantoorpanden. Mede aan deze moderne architectuur ontleent Rotterdam de bijnamen
Architektur führt Rotterdam auch den Beinamen Manhattan an der Maas.
On your right you see Plankjeskade, which in the old days served as a key for seagoing vessels. Today this area is characterized by high-rise living towers and futuristic office buildings. It's partly because of this modern architecture that Rotterdam is often called Manhattan on the Maas.
À votre droite, vous apercevez le Plankjeskade qui était à l'origine un embarcadère pour les navires.
Cette zone se caractérise de nos jours par ses grandes tours d'habitation surnom de Manhattan sur la Meuse.
A destra potete vedere i ponti scale, che un tempo era un molo per le grandi navi. Ora la zona è caratterizzata da grosse
Tornado widows. My favorite guinea pig. Don't fly around like shit. When shall we ever dig only to fly still fit? Tornadoes came along, and were planes too strong? We follow all the same. With decades, what's to blame? We like crashing too much, and got too fond of such, till we struck down like rain. To get there, that's in vain. Was it one tragic probe, or can't we get some joke? Is there still one at stake? Then shiver and awake. My good old rattlesnake, don't think this all is fake, when someone just tells us that probes have been kept thus. Horrible shit follows if we ignore such shows, as we got crushed that way, whatever you dare say. Did we not die enough from crashes oh so tough, while thousands did perish when lives were to cherish? It was not just a probe, and quite a nasty joke that made them follow so. Can't you take time to go?
De ingang van Weerhaven ligt het sociëteitsgebouw van de roei- en zeilvereniging De Maas. Het is gebouwd door architect V. Hoijkaas en in 1909 door de toenmalige burgemeester Zimmerman geopend. Het hoofdgebouw bevat een sociëteitsruimte, een dames- en een herenkamer, als ook een zeehaven. There is the club building of the Rowing and Sailing Club De Maas, built by the architect V. Hoijkaas and opened in 1909 by the pioneer Zimmerman. The main building contains a club space, a room for ladies and one for gentlemen, as well as some boardrooms.
Tornado serpents and termites. Even though the plane crashes worked with vengeance, and Mother Nature kept on rubbing our ear, thick-skinned tornado serpents then still mention tornado probes upon aircraft's ass so dear. That terrorists then love to crush us at once, the right in mind then really should not surprise. Not everyone such a matter can enchant, and find no objection to get gassed likewise.
L'edificio principale contiene uno spazio per le riunioni, una sala per le signore e uno per i conviti. De slanke toren is de Euromast, gebouwd in 1960. Toen de medische faculteit het witte gebouw achter de Euromast voltooid werd, raakte de mast het hoogterecord kwijt. Daarom werd in 1970 een stuk op de toren.
Tornado scam. I found my utmost pride and thrill on a tornado monkey's hill, where I saw you at an airport, quietly waiting for us a part of such an educative dream, with even most infernal cream. Between such scum have not to stay on that so utmost windy day. No plane crash was really too short for tourists of such evil sort, and from that most stormy ride we got very wet and tired, branded by our false pride and skill. On this tornado monkey's hill you were the only one still there that loved my educative care.
Nach der Fertigstellung der medizinischen Fakultät, dem weißen Gebäude hinter dem Euromast, hatte der Mast seine
That's why an extension of the tower was built in 1970. The so-called Euroscope takes its visitors to
Tornado suckers. Life is so often ultimately a windy affair, with what meteorologists freely get up in the air. This can fortunately deliver energy in gross, with all these large wind farms in the sea in front of our coast. But what if we love to disgrace ourselves too happily, and let our negligence escalate too fatally? If our aircraft so often all too fatal error, in configuration of tornadoes to our horror. From educated tornado probes of such origin, we all actually don't get upset at all in the beginning. We put such probes down black on white in all kinds of verdicts, as if such troubles of our mind would not really exist. But what Bellman crashes on so many a capital showed us in a diligent way what we got by this all. Why would it not trouble us at all so terribly dumb, till even September 11 tragic atom bombs? What kinds of utmost stupid guinea pigs we really are. The dust can so coolly make tornadoes as disappear. Whoever did hear of such most massacring beguiling, and can getting killed like this really trouble us one thing? How ingenious we can find this, on the contrary, even when millions of us perished this way, probably. What kind of bloody revolution can harm us such peril? And can atomic wars not really innovate us still?
Où le bâtiment en pierre blanche situé derrière l'Euromast fut achevé, l'Euromast perdit par là même son titre de plus haute tour des Pays-Bas. On a donc ajouté un peu de hauteur autour en 1968.
Costruita nel 1960. Quando la facoltà di medicina, l'edificio bianco dietro l'Euromast, fu ultimata, la torre perse il primato dell'altezza. De Lloydkade, vertrokken de schepen van de Rotterdamse Lloyds vanaf 1875 tot de jaren 60 naar de oost. Het vlaggenschip van deze rederij, de Willem Ruys, vernoemd naar de toenmalige directeur,
De la Rotterdamse Lloyd partait en Orient depuis 1875 jusque dans les années 1960. Et le navire, amiral de cette société d'armateurs connue sous le nom de
Plane crashes call for innovation. Do expose our insecurity and you get stuffed. The facts? What the hell are these? Can't you stop and shut up? Just fly yourself to pieces in such massacring ways. Such problems are sheer madness, and stop wasting my day. That way worldwide, for decades as a matter of fact. Aircraft crash due to tornadoes, to all our regret. Did not really manage to create these effects, by ignoring these with all its fatal side effects. If people don't need to know about all these effects, tornado simulation you can simply forget. Generations later the moderns still can't get it, even when millions lost their lives so after their wit. Who sows wind apparently can still reap tornadoes, and such simulation takes us to heights no one knows. Earthquakes and tsunamis occur all over the world, and even atom bombs don't waste such an entire herd. Corruption and negligence worse than hydrogen bombs, from these only locally a whole lot can go wrong, and others so useful in an educated way, have to get gently swallowed by us every day. With Bellman crashes, moderns keep on denying these, and make the courts and our parliament even so please. Even though the entire world got brought down so indeed, and made September 11 tragedies succeed. The fairy tale of society still lingers on, and they bust each other's brains in and out, on and on, as acknowledging blame is very hard to expect. That philosophic they can only be at first act. As utterly stupid guinea pigs they do succeed, and with all the Russian roulette we do as well indeed. Had our brains not really get better up from its shell, before atom bombs come to innovate us as well? Are ultimate guinea pigs not really fooling us, and had such mornings not better do something else thus? All our evil acting really can't improve ourselves, and the spots we are in are getting tighter itself. If we can't manage to find a solution at once, although tomorrow is really soon enough for once, things shall go quite wrong with our world so absolutely. Or are you for any improvement too cowardly?
Negli anni 60 partivano le navi della Rotterdamse Lloyd verso l'Oriente. La nave ammiraglia di questa società De Meerderhaven is een ultramodern logistiekcentrum voor op- en overslag van fruit, vruchtensappen en wietvliesproducten. In de gele loods staan tanks voor de opslag van geconcentreerd sinaasappelsap, dat voornamelijk wordt aangevoerd uit Brazilië.
Der Meerderhafen ist ein ultramodernes Logistikzentrum für die Lagerung und den Umschlag von
principalement du Brésil.
Il Meerderhaven è un centro logistico ultramoderno per lo stoccaggio e il trasbordo di frutta, succhi di frutta e prodotti surgelati. Nel capannone giallo si trovano serbatoi per lo stoccaggio succo d'arancia concentrato, proveniente principalmente dai mare.
Teil des Schiffsleitsystems Vessel Traffic System, das Ende 1992 in Betrieb genommen wurde. Das Netz besteht aus 28 Stationen, 4 davon sind unbemannt.
The radar station forms part of the traffic monitoring system, called Vessel Traffic System, taken into use at the end of 1990. The network
Le
consists
réseau
of
est constitué de 28 postes radars, dont 24 fonctionnent automatiquement, autrement dit sans personnel.
La postazione radar fa parte del sistema di gestione transport to the major trading areas in Europe.
Cibrex est chargé des opérations de transport de fruits, notamment d'agrumes. Les spécialistes des marchés de fruits sont chargés du transit rapide vers les principaux débouchés de
Die
parcours
de omvang van de Rotterdamse haven illustreren. Per jaar gaat bijna 328 miljoen ton lading Rotterdam in en uit. Daarvan bestaat 152 miljoen ton uit ruwe olie en olieproducten. Dan volgen de droge massagoederen zoals granen, erwten en kolen. 86 miljoen ton in totaal. Het stukgoed beloopt 90.
The Miraculous Rescue. We're flying around, they did actually have no problem. But the security didn't get their prime attention. What in the world made them actually have the evil guts to threaten crowds with flying pride as such a bunch of nuts? With all that filthy backward acting from all the quiet, they created quite a worldwide cinematic riot that set humanity horribly ablaze here and there, as if an atomic war was still missing anywhere. What could then still rescue the world in a serious way, except not risking a catastrophe at all someday? Operation Antifair promptly started off, therefore, because really no future would have been there anymore. The past obviously required to get buried in time, else no harbor could have been reached anymore for all time. A virtual plane crash still might offer solace in June. That act of Columbus attracted our attention soon. No one could psychically escape from such a plane crash, and only that might still have been capable to keep us from harassing the world in such a most destructive way, and would nature not destroy us all after that someday? That way all our plane crashes got turned upside down by draft, as a simulated tornado upon an aircraft. Some machine then lost half a wing in a symbolic way, and no negligent punk could really still laugh at this day. Comedy capers this all actually really was, but for a guillotine it was a bit too fierce, alas. Thousands almost perished by this plane crash like an A-bomb. The chain reaction turned out to be a complete world bomb. That was far too much for any kind of hydrogen bomb, and made mankind stop its arms race all over the world prompt. From something so horribly molesting we did wake up, and the world got its happy end anyhow by this stop.
Hier folgen ein paar Zahlen, die den enormen Umfang des Rotterdamer Hafens illustrieren. Tonnen Ausgabe und Produkten. Es folgen die trockenen Massengüter, beispielsweise Korn, Erze und Kohle, insgesamt 86 Millionen Tonnen. Das Stückgut beläuft sich auf 90 Millionen Tonnen, mehr als 3/4 hiervon in Containern. Pro Jahr kommen 32.000 Hochseeschiffe und ca. 150.000 Binnenschiffe hierher. Mehr als die Hälfte der Ladung wird in Rotterdam oder in den Niederlanden bearbeitet.
Annually, nearly 328 million tons of cargo come in and out of Rotterdam. Out of this, 152 million tons, of which more than 3/4 in containers. Annually, 32,000 seagoing vessels and approximately 150,000 inland navigation vessels come here. More than half of the cargo undergoes...
Tornado catches catch can. East-west at home best is well known. If cold water did not make us drown, with all these atom bombs everywhere, we are innocent anywhere. Don't you get filthy amusement, like prankers' entertainment? So we bomb each other for fun. How most evil this might become. Who won't keep his end so up then? Even tornadoes come again. The facts get thrown into public, and as clear as hell most frantic. All disastrous mismanagement makes us regret too late again. The world collapses very fast. We feet not on the ground, alas.
Dont 2/3 en conteneurs. Le port de Rotterdam accueille chaque année 32 000 navires et environ 150 000 péniches. Plus de la moitié des marchandises est ensuite traitée à Rotterdam même ou ailleurs aux Pays-Bas. L'arrière-pays que représente l'Europe de l'Ouest, comptant 160 millions de consommateurs, peut ainsi être ravitaillé par voie ferroviaire, par route ou par voie navigable dans les 48 heures qui suivent le déchargement des marchandises à Rotterdam.
Ecco alcuni dati per illustrare le enormi dimensioni del porto di Rotterdam. Ogni anno quasi 328 milioni di tonnellate di carichi transitano dal porto di Rotterdam. Di questo totale, 152 milioni di tonnellate consistono in olio grezzo e prodotti petroliferi, seguiti dai prodotti di massa secchi come cereali, minerali e carbone. In totale 86 milioni di tonnellate. Il carico generale ammonta a 90 milioni di tonnellate, di cui oltre 3/4 in container. Ogni anno qui arrivano 32.000 navi maritime nell'Europa occidentale con 160 milioni di consumatori. Nu varen we de Eemhaven binnen, grotendeels aangelegd in 1967, voor gespecialiseerd stukgoed. Rechts Nieuwhuisjaar, een onderdeel van de Damengroep met drijvende dokken. Indien een schip voor onderhoud of reparatie een dok in moet, wordt dit dok volgepompt met water, zodat het schip...
Tornado illusions. How most tenderly they loved each other, and got many their sweetheart together. With all these plane crashes hanging around, the world did not leave them healthy and sound. Nature always finds its tornado way, even across such a hedge any day. So at the supreme point of all their love, an aircraft crashed somewhere else from above. From this people produced a fine movie, and they got so thrilled by such comedy, this led to quite a genuine tornado, though they did shock the hell out of them so. Who could still withstand such a tragedy? And people soon lost their mind constantly. One after the other became sucked up, and those we still all might get on our top.
Wenn ein Schiff zur Wartung oder Reparatur ins Dock muss, dann wird dieses Dock mit Wasser geflutet, sodass das Schiff hineinfahren kann. Anschließend wird das Dock wieder leer gepumpt und das Schiff liegt trocken. Nach der Wartung oder Reparatur lässt man das Dock wieder sinken und das Schiff kann wieder herausfahren.
Now we are entering Eemhaven, constructed for the greater part in 1967 for specialized general cargo. To the right, Nieuwhuisjaars, a division of the Damen Group, with floating docks. If a ship has to go in dock for maintenance or repair, this dock is pumped up with water, enabling the ship to sail out again.
Nous entrons maintenant dans le Eemhaven, qui a été aménagé en 1967, surtout équipé pour la réception de marchandises diverses et spécialisées. Vous apercevez à votre droite Niehaus Yachts, une partie de l'ensemble du Damengroep avec ses bassins flottants. Pour l'entretien ou la réparation des bateaux, le bassin flottant est d'abord rempli d'eau, permettant ainsi l'entrée du bateau. Il est ensuite vidé de son eau, permettant ainsi le démarrage des travaux. À l'issue de ces travaux, il est à nouveau rempli d'eau, permettant la sortie du bateau.
Adesso entriamo nel porto Eemshaven, costruito per la maggior parte nel 1967 per carico generale specializzato. A destra, Niehaus Yachts, parte del Damengroep, con bacini galleggianti. Maar in totaal worden in Rotterdam dik 7 miljoen containers behandeld. Dat wil zeggen 20 voetseenheden. In 2020 verwacht men het dubbele aantal eenheden te behandelen.
Die Einführung der Container war die größte Transportrevolution aller Zeiten. Container im Standardformat sind 20 oder 40 Fuß lang. Darin können vielerlei Produkte befördert werden, bis zu Flüssigkeiten oder gekühlten Ladungen. ECT, das größte Containerumschlagunternehmen der Welt, fertigt fast 4 Millionen Behälter jährlich ab. Insgesamt werden in Rotterdam jährlich gut 7 Millionen Container umgeschlagen.
Aviation stampede. If cattle stampedes quite out of control, by lightning and some miscreant or so, then it remains us to amusement of lots to move such a herd around till it stops. In a large circle they then run forward, and in reality also backward. This they tend to keep up for quite a while, until they are tired, and that makes us smile. With people this is a different game, though they succeed each other just the same. "We'd rather go straight up" is their slogan, and all our advice sure is not welcome. Problems really are just there to ignore, and such scum really can't earn anymore. The facts can only come promptly to light, and no successor finds that a real plight. They merely follow fanatically, as no one can find this anxiously. That way they drop into each other's arms, and with no much mercy to their charm. Thanks to all our energy addiction and utmost empty-headed consumption, they turn into such perfect guinea pigs, and those still require refinement to dig. The finest plane crash shows we then got so, on the rebound or on purpose also. One only had to cry dead in some way, and corpses drop down in groups the same day. Moving them around offers solace too, as of tornadoes they don't know much truth. Thus we created this phenomenon, with the backfiring of nature along. An aircraft got swarmily struck someday, and that was a great luck in some odd way. If it occurs above such a large crowd, not too many need to have to get mourned. The demonstrative effect might then fail, with too many victims out of the trail. With only one bystander to be mourned, this did occur in a perfect way prompt. The facts Roglic passed in review on row, as social conflicts gave us a fine show. Who can still really afford or laugh to get such a plane crash show from above? This way the stampede fades slowly away, with such foul plane crashes filling each day. We all get it thoroughly on our bread, and who does not wake up shall soon be dead. That way you could even get a world bomb, and corpses rained in and outside our wamp. It was even of tactical value, and no head of state could find out a clue. From the utmost cruel probes they perished, and even the White House became cherished. Did all their disasters with government not lead to catastrophes to regret? Publications had problems quite plenty. That you could not deny absolutely. Was it so useful to deny such bombs? If Bermal crashes show us we are dumb? This queer religious empty-headedness gave us September 11 sadness. What had an act of the Lord thus to do with us being negligent for our dough?
Voor de Rotterdam Engeland. Veerboten vervoeren circa 10 miljoen ton goederen per jaar. Vaak zijn de goederen op de dag van vertrek vanuit Rotterdam op de plaats van bestemming in Groot-Brittannië. For short distances, such as for instance Rotterdam, Britain. Ferryboats carry some 10 million tons a year. Supply van circa 1000 containers. In deze hal worden de containers volledig geautomatiseerd behandeld.
Die ECB verfügt über eine große Containerhalle mit einer Lagerkapazität von ca. 1000 Container. In dieser
High afternoon. The air shimmered quietly obsolete. With disdain, people awaited the twist. There was the aircraft, already complete. Would still survive this dispute in mist? There would be no defect around no more. Even so, this aircraft was doomed to crash. The law of Murphy was about to score. Could he really not avoid a plane crash? Who was going to get the blame this time? The one who managed to torment others, to build aircrafts even more safe and fine, or those who the defects could not bother? A tornado got pulled so well in time, the suspected defect still got fatal. The tormentor yet laughed at Chang's decline. How evil complacency gets us all. Thousands could in this way have lost their lives, if the chemical factory got struck. In this evil case we then leave aside what effect a chain reaction then got. Negligence could not appear thus more swell. Most natural self-defense all the way. Manufacturers found their way to hell, and are still barking about that today.
Repose près de 60 000 tonnes de produits en acier en stock destinés au marché néerlandais et britannique.
Sul terreno industriale di 9 ettari della Dicema Acciaio per Costruzioni ci sono circa 60.000 tonnellate di scorte di prodotti d'acciaio destinate al mercato olandese e inglese.
The Snoring Snorers. A tiny educative plane crash, some more or less, cannot arouse fallen asleep souls in uniforms. Even though this gets us all worldwide an entire mess, and the many people perish in all kinds of storms. This promptly asks for the utmost awkward evil probes, to wake them in this case as fast as possible. That way aircrafts get accompanied by tornadoes, from which these tend to swirl around and crack horribly. Of course, this hardly ever turns out swell in the ground, and sometimes even a passenger seems to get shot. Who makes problems about it is a coward profound, as if things could not have turned out elseway for the lot. What do our judges think of such a tornado pro that can even show us all such many defects? What could life be without such a magnificent show? And people really can merely dream about such facts. Is there really no human being at all this bothers? And does it need to fall such an imbecile victim? What can you expect if people can't learn from others, and those around like guinea pigs till morning in a rhythm? By postponing all our problems as if we can't learn, people really can merely silence these every day. What can take no September 11 tragic turn and get our throats cut in such an educative way? The tornado pinball machine. From all our boundless technocratic degeneration, many a civilization went completely to hell. The requests for security aircrafts, even with caution, got us so all over the world a complete mess, a real swell. Of course, such a degenerated lot could not care less, and plane crashes could merely still amuse them with showing. From all reactions we could grow tornadoes for the mess, from which wings and so many on broke off by all blowing. From all chain reactions one could then all over the world blow everything and one up in a merrily way. All educative plane crashes did not make us regret, although this meant a lot of trouble so every day. Entire places got sucked up by tornadoes any day, and survivors were very hard to be found evermore. Entire continents managed to fall a victim this way, and their history we don't need to know much anymore. The tornado clowns. Shamelessly they let themselves exterminated worldwide. All these filthy, disgusting, backward tornado morons. Even educative tornado probes upon aircrafts could not get through to them. and you could tell them another. Their courts and parliament could still not bear such things in mind. Like a fragmented plane crashes bomb, they kept on thus well, denying this worldwide with Berman crashes as sick kind. The September 11 tragedy struck like hell. By their plane crashes loving tornadoes snoring around, some continents suffered a tsunami or hurricane. 1988 could already predict sound that the world would end in the mist with such terrorism plane. 13 years later on, this was the historical case, even though warnings yet managed to lead to measurements. When shall we ever learn in time without a breaking face not to swing ourselves to pieces in plane crashes terms?
And has meanwhile developed into an impressive fleet.
Peace forever. Real soon after the First World War encounter, innovation got their spirits to counter. Bloodthirsty they were eager for rehearsal, and chose for a final payoff to settle. Alas, they did not perceive how it would end, and would perish from atom bombs as a vent. What would then still remain of them as a fact? That really would make them jump into bullets. Gone mad from all kinds of plane crashes torture, somewhere they went looking for the mess its source. Tornado pinball machines they ran into, and these soon got finished off with all its crew. No bombardment then was still out of order, even though the whole world got quite a bother. That bragged itself lyrically to the end, and then the war finally came to an end.
Dovetti traslocare e per questo si decise di interrompere la nuova costruzione. La Agnes Drive Brocken, che un tempo era Born and Mix, ha portato avanti l'attività e con
Do return in one piece. First you take off and get in a flight. You just fly around and forget us. So you get in many a place tight, as a lord from the sky with a crash. Who has tasted this does not return, unless you know to find your way back. Traffic seems easy without concern, but wood returns from winds with a lag. On wings actually strong enough, that still might once be an occurrence. But the facts do remain a pain tough. How can these get offered a license? Tornadoes might get fatal to you. Even an air pocket might do that. Attenuate lifts smoothly as glue, else you return in pieces instead.
L'edificio dalla cupola verde è uno degli edifici di ventilazione del nuovo studio. Il quarto piano, che unisce le sponde nord e sud della mura, fu costruito in cemento.
The natural payoff. The world became relieved from a transport pandemic, about which real fine plane crash movies got produced. With tornado probes upon aircraft by intellect, the pandemic got combat until it all reduced. A year without crashing with airliners yet arrived, in the country in which these movies became furnished. After many years, people finally recognized how seriously plane crashes had to get banished. The operation did not get real well accepted, and the responsible person could take over the route. To the city of the first probe still affectionate, the world had to get tempted to revive thereabout. Evaluation soon delivered from the whole lot, that our authorities could merely remain asleep, generating Belma crashes thus worldwide on top, till a September 11 tragedy steeped. Of course, this was hardly acceptable for us all, and at the reunion with the cradle of these probes, hell broke loose and many had a really dreadful ball when the city got approached rowing a rubber boat. Jet black clouds spurted through the air above everywhere when the boat got sailed across the border at South Front. We had to avoid to get sucked up into the air, while the folded up boat rolled into a restaurant. Outside, the container still threatened to mangle us, when it got blown over on its side and slapped our way. Just in front of the door it stopped with trying to crush, and the beer could yet get consumed in a peaceful way. A tall ship sank at a Scheldt in its most violent storm. The scouts had to swim for their lives, as you might recall. In a flash of victory got returned in some form. With a rubber boat one can really have quite a ball. A week later on the new maze yet got tamed in it, after a lot of discussion with the lockkeeper. The best horseman kept being on his feet as wanted, and the river awaited a true death despiser. The waves luckily did narrowly not wash aboard. The river looked rather desolate and quite windless. Somewhere it resembled walking a freakish tight cord, and ships got spotted with a mirror quite fearless. The police could not agree with this experiment, and at the Rhine harbor the boat did really get caught. Papers and television could not praise this attempt, and took crowning Northern Ireland fit for the weird lot. That Christmas a tsunami cruelly struck so true, and with many ships they sank and drowned after this bit. Rowing around Northern Ireland stopped being taboo, as later it was permitted to swim around it. Oh, what a theater! Without reluctance they flew intensely around, because flying could be done in such a safe way. Experts surely managed people to make no sound, and to have criticism hypocritically away. Behind their back they actually pumped them full, with technical defects and our social conflicts. If this was successful, they found themselves quite cool, and their criminality so paid quite a bit. In most courts and parliaments all over the world, they really had no problem with denying this. With Bijlmer crashes this promotion got a whirl, and the September 11 tragic finish. No human being suspected any evil yet, and gas chambers so once more flourished quite a bit. But were people actually worth more like that? As the iron guinea pigs they were glad to fit. At the bare bottom of the Atlantic Ocean now rests our aircraft due to manipulation. Gone by epidemic flight and all its motion, black boxes wait for our tragic destination. Corpses already come floating to the surface, Now the tracks of smell require to get well followed. While with us they shall only remain there with grace. Where the Bermuda Triangle they got swallowed.